So what am I going to be reporting on today? What is Thorpe Park adding for next year? Hello there guys, my name is Aaron Challoner, you're watching Coast Shy YouTube channel, Doncaster born but built for Theme Park News. Now before we get started, make sure you like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you never miss a YouTube video. Make sure you go check out our videos yesterday from Leesburg and Plopsaland in Pound. We've got two big developments there. Today, there's no real Theme Park News updates as of recording this at the minute that have come out today. So I thought it would be a great way to finally start discussing what is Thorpe Park doing for next year. And I'm going to say straight off the bat, don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up about anything big next year. I think we're going to see 2021 or 2022 be the big year. So, like I said, I do think that the next couple of years could be big for Thorpe. However, next year, I won't expect anything big. Now, I'm going to go over a few things, just a couple of things, like 2 or 3 things that I think could happen. That I think could lead up to something big in the next couple of years. However, like I said, I'm not going to go too much into detail about the next couple of years because I think I'm going to save that just in case anything big gets teased over winter season for the following couple of seasons. So, let's start off then with food offerings. Now, there's been a lot of complaints about food offerings at Thorpe Park and the sort of downgrade in food offerings. So, I think that's a good opportunity to introduce a couple of new restaurants and sort of eating places and dining places, just to sort of build up that dining area of the park. I think bringing in a couple of new restaurants and dining outlets, I think will improve the park's restaurant lineup and dining lineup, which I think is a small improvement. Like I said, I think next year's just going to be another 2019. It's going to be small improvements and stuff like that. So like I said, I think a couple of restaurants / dining outlets will be perfect for the lineup. It sort of gives it more a wide range of choices. I think we're going to see that fish and chip shop near Stealth. I think that's going to stay. Sticky Sisters, now that closed in 2018. Now I don't think we've heard anything more about that. However, I'd like to see something new in that restaurant site, unless they're preparing something for that whole site. I don't know. So I think we should see like maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe even 3. But one restaurant idea that came up on a few forums that I want to discuss with you, and I want to put your comments down below on all the things we talk about, but here's something to put in the comments down below. Would you like to see a roller coaster restaurant? Now, at first we thought that was exclusive to Alton Towers. However, of course, that Alton Towers one with Galactica that opened back in 2016 was based around the original food loop at Thorpe Park, so it's not exactly exclusive to Alton Towers because it's the second one of its kind in Europe and around the world. So I would personally like to see a roller coaster restaurant at Thorpe Park, especially since it was the thrill capital of the world, or just the thrill capital of the UK. You know, I think it needs to sort of keep that title, if you know what I mean. So I think putting in a roller coaster restaurant is sort of like, you know, we're the UK's thrill capital, and now we're going to bring our thrills into the dining room with the roller coaster restaurant. I don't think it'll be called roller coaster restaurant. I think it'll be called something like Off the Rails and sort of put it in a generic area of the park, like a Lost City, or maybe theme it to Lost City and sort of do something like that. Maybe even use the Soar Alive boat if they fix the barge at some point. Maybe turn that into the roller coaster restaurant, or just not use the Soar Alive part of it and just turn the whole queuing area into sort of put a building where the old queuing area for Soar Alive used to be, and then have the pathway going into like a horror-themed roller coaster restaurant. Again, we don't know. It could turn into a bar past 9 o'clock if you're staying in the Thorpe Shark Hotel, so you can go down to the park, go into the roller coaster restaurant, go into the bar section, and sort of be part of that as well. So I do believe that we could see a roller coaster restaurant, but I think we would have seen construction by now, so I don't think that's personally going to happen. So I do believe that a roller coaster restaurant won't be on the cards for next year. If there was going to be a roller coaster restaurant, I would see it in the next few years, and I think it would be a good fit for the dining outlets at Thorpe Park. Second thing I want to talk about is ride improvements and refurbishments. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Colossus getting some work done next year, Rumba with a couple of adjustments next year, Quantum, Quantum. Now, many people have said they want to see a flat ride next year. That won't be the case. We would have seen construction by now. unless it's going to be one of those quick fits. Maybe they're going to get Ramesses Revenge from Chessington. That's been removed over 2020, so that won't be the case. Even if they are buying Ramesses, that'll be more a 2021 thing, because they're dismantling it over 2020, or they'll be dismantling it over the winter season. So I think there is still a possibility they could dismantle it at Chessington over the winter season, ship it across the road, get it down at Thorpe and get it open for the opening day, and sort of set it up over sort of February, March months. Maybe get it ready for April, sort of the main getting into the summer season, because March is usually the opening months and sort of the annual pass weekend. So I think April would be a more busier time, especially if you get it open for the spring bank holidays. But again, where would you put it? I think Slammer's site is a good site, but again, are we going to see that dismantled over the winter season? Because that's still SBNO. We know it's gone, but that hasn't been brought down yet. At least sort of put it in storage, so we don't have to keep looking at an SBNO ride that's going to be closed anyway and won't operate again. I do miss Slammer. But I'm going to go back onto Quantum. Now, I'm not sure that a relocated topspin would work on Quantum's site, because I think Quantum's site is too small for a topspin. Again, comment down below if you could remove some trees for that, because I don't think there's any real tree regulations with Thorpe. I think if you plant some new ones somewhere else in the park to make up for the ones you demolish, there's a possibility of a topspin on that site, but again, we don't know. I think the best that'll happen, is Quantum gets sort of put back together and gets rethemed. I did love Quantum when I last went to Thorpe. I went to Thorpe in 2015 and 2017, and I really loved Quantum in the 2017 visit. I didn't get a chance to ride it in the 2015 visit because there was a big queue, and it kept a big queue quite throughout the day. And even when it was sort of coming towards the end of the day, it was sort of too late at that point because I was in the queue for Swarm for my last ride. So I didn't get a chance that year, but I did get a chance in 2017, and it's a good flat ride. I'm not going to lie, it's a good flat ride. Not the best out there, it's not my top 5, as you'll see by so many top 5 videos, but it's not in my top 5, but it's still a decent flat ride. And I would like to see it come back this year, well, not this year, but next year. I don't think it's coming back this year. I think it just needs to be put back together, because at the minute, it's just scattered in parts on site. So I think they do need to either demolish it or put it back together and get it up and running for next season. But like I said, if there's a regulation on tree removal, if there isn't a regulation on tree removal, I could see Ramesses Revenge going into Quantum's site. Yes, it'd be a shame to lose another flat ride, but Quantum's gone through a lot of operations. Zodiac's had some downtime, Flying Fish have had some downtime, Walking Dead's on 3 trains. So the sort of smaller rides, like the family coasters or the flat rides, have sort of gone through a bit of a down period this year, according to reports. So, there's a possibility that they could put in a new flat ride next year. Like I said, I think the best possibility, if it was to be a new flat ride next year, would be bringing Ramesses Revenge from across the road at Chessington. Because they're dismantling it over this winter period. So I would like to see that come to Thorpe and be sort of brought up over the next couple of months after it's been dismantled at Chessington. Don't fully demolish it. But I think if they were to bring it to Thorpe, they'd bring it after they've demolished it. It'd be like December, going into January next year. Bring it to Thorpe, get it up, and get it ready for the first weekend. If not, April. Spring bank holiday, get it all ready. It depends what Thorpe Park announces, to be fair. So, in terms of new rides, in terms of new flat rides, I think Ramesses is the only possibility, unless they're going to go for some more family rides, which, again, confuse the target market. Because I think they're a thrill park rather than a family park, but they've got some family investments. They can bring in the families at some point, but you're more of a thrill park. You need to put in more thrill investments. But it seems like Thorpe are going in the direction of a resort market where it's family and thrills. But, Chessington's family, Alton Towers is sort of in between, so you sort of need that thrill park out of the milling chain in the UK. So Chessington's family, Alton is a mix. I think Thorpe should be the thrill park. Unfortunately for families, I think Thorpe should be the thrill park. If you want family investments, go down to Chessington. It's nearby. It's not too much of a walk. You can even go to Legoland Windsor. They're a family park as well. You've got 2 family parks. And then you've got Alton up in Staffordshire that's a mix of family and thrill. Thorpe should be the thrill park. You shouldn't invest in 3 thrill and family parks, sort of in that London region, and then 2 thrill family parks between each other, between Alton and Thorpe. You should have that thrill part to sort of set it above the others. And Thorpe isn't becoming that at the minute. Unless that changes in the next few years, again, we don't know. But yeah, I think the best chance for a new flat ride is going to be Ramesses Revenge from Chessington. But again, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Comment down below if you think Ramesses should come to Thorpe Park. Now, staying on ride refurbishments, Colossus, like I said, rumoured to be going through a bit of new work. Maybe we'll see some work done to it over the closed season, maybe some station work, maybe some refurbishment work in any of the tunnel sections going into one of the inversions. Again, I don't know what state Colossus will be in at this point, you know, with the new one coming in at Flamingoland next year. Rumoured to open in the Spring Bank holiday, but again, we don't know. For sure, we're not confirming that, but the rumour is Spring Bank holiday next year, which I'd love to be down there for. I'm going to try my best to try and get down there for the Spring Bank holiday. But I do believe that Thorpe needs to do some refurbishment work on Colossus, because a lot of people have been complaining about it at points this year and the past couple of years as well. So I think Colossus needs some work done to it. Same with that sort of whole Loggers Leap, I'm a Celebrity area. Now, talking about I'm a Celebrity, I'm going to talk about that site and what's returning for next year in a little bit. But I think that whole area just needs a refresh. We know that Loggers Leap's going to be coming down over this winter period, so fingers crossed that all gets sorted and it doesn't stay SBNO for another year. Even though we know it's going, you know, we'd like to see it sort of brought down if it is going to be brought down, which I think could be the case this winter season. I think we're going to see the demolishment of Loggers Leap over this winter season, so fingers crossed that site gets flattened, ready for next season, and hopefully we'll see some borders put up for a future coaster in a couple of years. That's the hope, anyway. Staying with ride refurbishments then, so we talked about Quantum, we talked about Colossus, we talked about that old town going into I'm a Celebrity area. Now, we do know for 2020 that Jungle Escape is coming back, and we can pretty much confirm that Bouncezilla is coming back as well for selected dates in the summer, spring period, etc. Game FX, pretty sure won't be coming back because that was just a one-year thing. That'll be going to a different site in London. If you didn't know already, it's a gaming event. It takes place in London year upon year. It was chosen to open at Thorpe Park for this year, and then they'll probably just choose a different different area in London for next year. They'll just keep choosing different areas in London. So Thorpe had it that for this year. It'll be a different area next year. So we won't see Game FX return next year. But there's a huge possibility Bouncezilla will come back, and there's a definite possibility. Well, there's a definition and a definite sort of solution that Jungle Escape will be coming back next year. Are both going to receive changes? Are we going to see that Bouncezilla Extreme at a certain time? Because we know that we had the Bouncezilla and then there was like an extreme period where you sort of do like an extreme warm-up at start, and then you get squirted with water guns as you go through the course. To be fair, as a bit of fun for teenagers and sort of good fun for families, I think it was a decent event. But again, just huge bouncy castle just isn't Thorpe Park. So even though it will probably come back, I am a little disappointed it is coming back because I don't think it fits their target market. However, at least something that kind of worked a bit this year is coming back at some point. So I think we're pretty much certain that Bouncezilla will come back. We are definitely certain that Jungle Escape is coming back, because I saw on one of the short breaks websites, or one of the sort of break websites on Thorpe Park's website, we did see something about Jungle Escape. So Jungle Escape will be coming back for next year. Is that going to have a storyline change? Is that going to have some extra bits added to it? Any sort of changes in the way that they run the escape room attraction? Obviously, that's taking place in the I'm a Celebrity site, but you've got a huge amount of space behind it in the old Jungle Safari sort of antique car ride space that was removed years ago. You've got a lot of space behind it. You could literally fit a good sized coaster in there with the I'm a Celebrity building included down the Sticky Sisters as well. So I just think it's a waste of space, to be honest. Jungle Escape was a good success at some points this year, but it's not the long-term investment, in my opinion. I don't think escape rooms are the long-term investment for theme parks. Yes, they're trying something different, and I like the fact that Thorpe Park experimented this year with the bouncy castle, the escape room, the gaming event, and then of course promoting Fright Nights on the new attractions, which is still embarrassing. The fact that you couldn't think of a fourth new attraction, so instead we'll just promote Fright Nights. I just still couldn't believe that when I saw it months ago when it was first announced. But fingers crossed, it'll all be okay. Fingers crossed. So there we go. So to summarise 2020, it'll be Jungle Escape coming back, probably Bouncezilla coming back, ride refurbishments, ride upgrades, and some new food offerings. I think we're just going to have a general park improvement year next year again. But hopefully, like I said, fingers crossed in the next couple of years we'll see a new coaster on that Loggers Leap site or somewhere else in the park. Comment down below your thoughts, like the video if you've loved it, subscribe to Coach Chal so you never miss a YouTube video by clicking the notification bell as well. And for now guys, my name is Coach Chal, keep living the coast of life, and I'll see you guys in the next video soon. Take care, have an awesome day my friends.